Hello and welcome to part 15 of the small Na'vi grammar course. Today we will talk about another case, namely the topical case. First of all, how do we add a topical to a noun? Like with the other case endings we had before, the topical always goes onto a noun, because all case endings always show the role a noun plays in a sentence. So you will never put the topical on a verb or an adjective or whatever, always put the topical on a noun. To do this, if the noun ends in a vowel or a diphthong, you put ri behind it. If the noun ends in a consonant or a pseudo-vowel, you add a eri behind it. That's just to make it easier pronounceable. So some examples would be weri, tereiri, uturi, tinauriri, tseuri. And for the other side, moateri, eweleri, treri, utraleri, or tingesekeri. But more important is, of course, now that we know how to build the topical, how to use it or what is it used for. So let's look at this. The topical sets the topic of a sentence. So everything that follows basically is a comment about this topic. Therefore, you can translate it as something like as for or regarding something. That's the literal translation of the topical. But depending on context, it can translate to different things. It's used by default with some verbs, so some verbs just work together with the topical. It's like other verbs work together with L and T, or other verbs usually are used with the ru ending. So that's just a matter of learning which verbs work with which ending. It's also called for something named inalienable possession. What that is, we will see later. And you can also use it for so-called comparisons of equality as something else. For example, as large as a tree or as smart as you. And very important, please don't do the topical in every sentence now. I see some people, when they just learn the topical, then just replace everything with the topical. Because as for you, you can have a topic in every sentence, right? In theory, yes. But usually, if you have something else that works better than the topical, then you use that. There are some exceptions, but usually you only want the topical if it's really needed, with some exceptions, of course, and it's depending on context. But I will talk about this from time to time during this lesson. So let's see some examples of verbs that are used with the topical. Here are some sentences and here are the translations. Nume is probably the typical verb that's used as an example. Nume translates in English to learn. If I want to say I learned the language, then in English that's a transitive sentence, so it sounds like a L and T sentence. But to be precise, nume means more something like to gain knowledge, and I cannot gain knowledge something. That doesn't really make sense, so in Na'vi it's not transitive. Instead you say regarding the language I learn, so that's a topical thing. The fiari o nume. Next sentence, I thank you for the help. Srongeri o ingaro irayosi. Regarding the help, I do thanks to you. So irayosi is another verb that works very well with the topical and is often used that way. One thing that you see here in every sentence is that the topical comes at the beginning of the clause. So in Forest Na'vi, you will always have the topical or the noun phrase that has the topical at the beginning of the clause. So you see the fiari is at the beginning, the srongeri is at the beginning. But of course, if the topical belongs to another part of the clause, then it will be at the start of that part. So I can also say, Tsau desar suli srongeri o ingaro irayosi. This was helpful. Thank you for the help. So here you see that the topical is not the beginning of the sentence, but of the clause it belongs to. By the way, you could also say srongeri, tsau desar suli o ingaro irayosi. Regarding the help, that was helpful. Thanks. So the topical can also be at the beginning of the complete sentence with multiple clauses, and then all the clauses can refer back to the topical. Next one would be tsap alutesi, to apologize. Fisk aungeri o tsap alutesi. I apologize for this idiot, or literally, regarding this idiot, I apologize. Then I concentrate on the game. Uvaneri ganfbil o. Regarding the game, I concentrate. And last one, tsame te iari o ewaru aho. Regarding the end of the war, I pray to Ewa. Here we see again that the topical or the noun with the topical is not completely at the end of the sentence. But tsame te ia, the end of the word belongs together, so they build a noun phrase. And it's only important that the noun phrase that contains the topical is at the beginning. So I could also, for example, for the sentence before say, Ngesika uvaneri kanfbil oi, regarding the hard game, I concentrate. Like I already said, always at the beginning of the clause. There is one exception though, namely Reef Na'vi dialect. In Reef Na'vi dialect, the topical can also come at the end of a clause. But this video series concerns itself mostly with Forest Na'vi, so you will see the topic at the beginning of the clause in this video. Now, of course, it can be hard to know which verbs are actually used with the topical. And for that, I have one big tip for you: consult the Annotated dictionary. The Annotated dictionary is a dictionary PDF. It was made by Krajo Plums, and it contains all the words with some official example sentences. So in there you will have the best chance to find out with which case endings a verb is usually used. I will put a link to that in the description. Here I have some verbs for you that are typically used with topical. Nume, to learn. Srongsi, to help. Kanfbil, to concentrate. Aho, to pray. So you pray to someone, that's with the ru ending. Regarding something, with the ri ending. Like we had before, I pray to Eira. Eira gets the ru ending. For the end of the war, and the end of the war then gets the ri ending. Bei, to wait, so the thing you wait for gets the topical. Regarding something I wait. Ein, to answer, so I can answer someone, so to te ru, with the ru ending. But the thing that I answer, so regarding which I give an answer, gets the ri ending, so te paumeri o engaru ein. Regarding the question, I answer to you. Milde, to agree, so you can agree with someone, who, that's in that position. And the thing regarding which you agree gets the topical. So tsari oe milde ngahu, I agree with you about that. And fe'ol and tsan'ul, to get worse or better. So for example, fiari nga tsan'ul, regarding the language you get better. Some more. Nui and fled, to fail or succeed. For example, fetinviri oe flole, regarding this task I succeeded. Irayosi, to thank, we had that one. Efo, to feel, so you can feel something about something. You can, for example, also ask something like Tsari nga efo pifya, regarding that, how do you feel? Oposi, to be afraid, so regarding what you're afraid. So for example, if I'm afraid of birds, then I would say something like Yayori or oposi, regarding the bird, I'm afraid. So I'm afraid of the bird. Tzap alutasi, we also saw that the thing you apologize for gets the topical. And leimfe, to complain, the thing regarding which you complain, so about which you complain, gets the topical. And sim and lim, to be near or far. So I can say T'ampari tsrai lim. Regarding the ocean, the village is far. So the village is far from the ocean. And lastly, in, to be busy. The thing with which you are busy gets the topical. These were only some examples. Of course, there are a few more. These are the ones that I guess are helpful for the beginning. Like I said, you can find out for every verb. You can find out for every verb if it's used with a topical or with another case ending in the Annotated dictionary. Let's go on to fgan. Fgan is another verb that's very often used with topical. And I have an extra slide about that one because I find it really interesting, and I think it's worth looking at some example sentences of this one. So what it means, or how it's defined in the dictionary, is resemble in a sensory modality, come to the senses as. That sounds very ominous, very weird. It's used together with nouns of sensation, and the thing itself is in the topical. What do I mean with this? With nouns of sensation, I mean those. Ur is the noun for appearance, faheo is a smell, pam is a sound, sur is a taste, zir is a touch or a feel or a texture of something. You use the verb fgan usually with one of these in the subject position, and then the thing which you're actually referring to is in the topical. Let's just look at an example, then it will become a bit clearer, I think. For example, nikreri ur fgan lor. regarding the hair, the appearance comes to the senses as beautiful. Like you see, you can leave out the ur, then it would just be Neytiri fgan lor. We usually would not say Neytiri fgan lor, because the thing in the subject position is usually one of these nouns of sensation to show to which sense it appears beautiful. So if you leave out the ur, then it actually could also mean that the hair smells good. Because you could also say Neytiri faheo fgan lor, so the smell appears to the sense as beautiful. So if you leave out the ur, then it can mean multiple senses. But if you want to make it very clear, then you would say Neytiri ur fgan lor, this hair is beautiful, the appearance of the hair is beautiful. Here's another example. Yari faheo fgan sosul. The air has a watery smell like rain or nearby water. Sosul is a very interesting adjective. It's referring to, probably you know, the smell in the air when it's about to rain. And the air has this watery smell. I really like it. And sosul is an adjective describing the smell. So you can use it for that. So if you say Yari faheo fgan sosul, then you mean that regarding the air, the smell appears to the senses as sosul. So the air smells that way. And here 2 more examples that kind of belong together because they show the difference between leaving out the subject and not leaving out the subject, so the noun of sensation. Radori faheo fgan wero na jerik. Radu smells like jerik to me. So literally, regarding Radu, the smell appears to the senses, or to my senses, for me, to the senses, like a jerik. If you now leave out the faheo and write something like Radori fgan na jerik, then it could mean multiple things. It can mean that Radu looks like a jerik, sounds like a jerik, smells like a jerik, tastes like a jerik, even though I don't think someone would try that, feels like a jerik. I don't know how jerik feel like. So it just means that generally Radu comes to the senses like a jerik. So you can then insert these nouns of sensation to tell to which sense Radu comes that way. So you could also say Raduri ur fgan na jerik. As for Radu, the appearance comes to the senses like a jerik, so he looks like a jerik. Or Pam fgan na jerik. So he sounds like a jerik because the sound comes to senses like a jerik. Let's go on with inalienable possession. What is that? That's things that belong to you and you cannot give them away. So that's stuff like body parts, your spirit, your life. What counts as inalienable can be very different from language to language. In some languages it's also family members, it's other random things, some family members and some not. So it can be very different and we don't have that much information about how it is in Na'vi. So you can basically do what feels right, but from the official sentences, it's mostly body parts, spirit, and alive. For these, then you replace the genitive, so that was the ye or e ending, with the topical. Some examples. Weri ne ia tsiok zoslolu. My hand finally healed. So as for me, finally the hand healed. Srake ngari re otisrausi. Does your head hurt? By the way, for this sentence, I also have a second version for you. Ngari srake re otisrausi. Does your head hurt? Because here you see something very interesting. I told you that topical comes at the beginning of the clause. And that, of course, gives the question, what comes first, srake or the topical? Because srake also comes at the beginning of the clause, and the answer is you can decide yourself. So for these two, both is possible. Ngari hu ewa saleo tiria. Your spirit goes with Eira, or literally, regarding you, with Eira goes the spirit. Weri tingaye te lanit tivakuk. Let the truth strike my heart, or regarding me, let the truth strike the heart. Next, let's look at these comparisons of equality. That's stuff like, I am as fast as you. So these as someone else or something else. They are built with a combination out of niftan, so to such an extent it's an adverb, in combination with the topical, or alternatively the adpositions na or el, which both mean like something else. Let's just look at some examples. Ngari oilu niftan win. I am as fast as you. Or literally, regarding you, I am so fast. Or I am fast to such an extent. Now you can also replace the topical here with na op il. So you can say oilu na nga niftan win. Or oilu pel nga niftan win. Since these two are at positions, we can also put them at the end of the noun. So we could also say oilu ngana or ngap el niftan win. But of course there are many different versions of the sentence also with 3-word order. But they all mean the same, I am as fast as you. Ngari wel yerik gitaro niftan zan. I hunt yeriks as good as you do. So regarding you, I hunt yeriks so good, or good to such an extent. Again, we could also here replace the topical with na op el. Finally, I have some other examples for you where the topical is just used in another way that doesn't fit in with the things we talked about before, because the topical can be used in a lot of different situations, and honestly, it's just something you have to get the feeling for. You have to get the feeling for how the topical works, and that works best by looking at a lot of examples, looking at official sentences that use the topical. So here are some of them. Ngari leyu weru nurra nitan. I am very proud of you. So literally, regarding you, to me is very much proudness, or to me is very much pride. Aungari kitsran tseng kive fisoaya lutuatseng. So here we have a very interesting sentence, because aungari, regarding us, and then the aunga doesn't appear in the sentence at all again. So in the English version we have 2 times we, basically. We have wherever we go, and then the family is our fortress, and our is just the genitive version of we. We don't need this in the Na'vi sentence, because the aungari at the beginning sets the us as the center topic, and everything afterwards revolves around this. So it's understood that it's our fortress. So literally what this means is, regarding us, no matter the place we go to, this family is the fortress. Fori maukrura farenten ioisepoli hulum. Literally this means, as for them, after putting on the renten, so the goggles, left. In English, again, we have they in both sentences. After they put on their goggles, they left. But here, we can put the fori just at the beginning of the sentence, even before the conjunction maukra, even before the after. And then everything that follows is a comment about them. Tatsko los buin o tegelu mitua, slaweri tanwaweleyu. That bow is old and no longer strong, but it means a lot to me. I find this one interesting because we could easily replace the weri with a weru. To me, it means a lot. But, of course, if we want to stress that for us, like as for me, it still means a lot, then it makes total sense to use the topical here. Like, as opposed to everyone else who doesn't like it anymore because it's not strong, as for me, I like it. It means a lot to me still. Fewairi inuarenut ngampame ketsengun oitslivam. So I'm afraid I can't understand the intricate rhyme scheme of this poem. So here the poem is the center of the discussion. Fewairi, as for this poem. Inuarenut ngampame ketsengun oitslivam. So as for this poem, I cannot understand the intricate rhyme scheme, is what would be more literally. And lastly, poneo hivum weri geneo. He wants to leave, I, on the other hand, don't. So here we see one very important usage of the topical, namely to make contrast. Like, he wants to go, but me, on the other hand, in contrast to that, I don't. And this is also a very useful thing the topical can do. And with that, we are done for this lesson. If you have any questions, like always, ask them in the comments or contact me off Discord. Hi, jalo, frapo.